Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check them out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Okay, so I'm currently having a conversation here with Cody's mother, Tammy, and it's really nice of her to join us and talk about everything going on in this whole case and her son and everything. So I thank you for that. Well, I guess we'll start off at the beginning here. I guess we'll just talk about some early days and we'll go into that with how Cody was, where he grew up and everything. So that way you guys have a little ballpark of what's going on and everything.
Yeah, I originally lived in Louisdale. I lived at home with my mom when I had Cody and my brother. And when he was about 2, I met Leslie, his stepdad, and we dated for a year before I moved up here with him in River Dennis. And he then met Leslie's family, who instantly fell in love with him, and they were so incredible to him from the start. His biological father, Scott, was in his life inconsistently at times, but he was in his life for the most part. But yeah, Cody, we lived up here since he was 3. He loved it. We have quite a big piece of land and lots of places for him to explore. He's very outdoorsy. He's always loved it outside. Loved anything with wheels. Always very curious, asking questions to my husband, his stepdad, and his granddad, Poppy Alley, and his uncle Alan. They guided him on cars and trucks, and I mean, he just loved anything with wheels. So asking questions all the time. He learned so much and just loved it up here. So he grew up here basically since he was 3 years old.
Okay. And growing up in school and everything there, like I guess, well, he went to elementary. That was Waikagama
In
education.
Waikagama, yeah, he went to elementary school in Waikagama and went to high school up to grade 11 at Dalbrae, and then did his grade 12 year at Richmond Academy with a lot of. I knew so many people down there, and he did too, really, because I was originally from there. Yeah, so he graduated that year with a couple of really good friends, and our cousin April. He had a great year. Yeah, so he loved it down there as well. And he was always very close to my mother as well, and my brother, because he grew up with them for the first couple of years. So he stayed with my mom, off and on down there as well. She spoiled him rotten, and he loved that. So yeah, so he was always down there anyway, most of the time, off and on. So he did his grade 12 year there.
Okay. And during school and everything, um, well, I mean, you mentioned that he wasn't a big fan of school or whatever, but because he'd rather be working
No,
on cars.
he did not like school. He struggled in school. Definitely attention deficit problems. Like he had a hard time focusing, and didn't want to ever get the extra help, or because he didn't want to look different. So he did struggle a lot with ADHD. And I mean, 15, 20 years ago, it really wasn't, people weren't as aware of it, and it wasn't spoken as much about. So he didn't want to, tell people, or tell the teachers, or tell the doctors that he couldn't focus, or he didn't want to be different. So it was tough. Yeah, he struggled with that for sure.
Yeah, no, and even back then, like your friends find out you're on medication or something, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, you don't, I mean, it's such a hard age to begin with. So to be a little different, it makes it even harder. So yeah, he struggled with not wanting to look different and not wanting to admit that he needed the help because he didn't want to be different than the other kids.
No, that's right. And it sucks that sometimes, you're made to feel different by those other kids, right?
Exactly. And that happens all the time.
Yeah, even today.
Yes, still today, you're right. It's almost worse today because they have social media and online to continue it after they leave school. So it is difficult. Yeah.
You said he learned everything from his grandfather and his stepfather, Leslie. Yeah, he never took a trade or anything in school or nothing like that.
No, he just honestly he was so curious and asked so many questions. I mean, I think he was 8 years old and he was taking apart a snowblower and he fixed it and put it back together. Like he was that smart with anything with an engine or a motor. He and I mean learned so much from them. Like they're Leslie's family, his stepdad's family, they're so family oriented and they're so close. He just looked up to them and they're homebodies too. So he was always working on cars and trucks and asking them questions, and yeah, he just was just a quick learner.
Okay, so there was lots of bonding time and conversations and everything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, everybody in Leslie's family, they're incredible to him. Even when Cody went missing, one of Leslie's sisters is away out west, up north, and she couldn't be home to search. So she put on a fundraiser up there to raise money for the GoFundMe reward because she couldn't be home. Like they're just really, really good people. They're just very family oriented and really good people. And he learned a lot from them.
That's awesome. Like, yeah, he had good family and everything growing up, so I mean, that's
Good
good.
values, good family, yeah. And I mean, you were always welcome at Nanny and Poppy's, no matter what. And their eyes lit up when he'd come through the door. So yeah, he was very, very loved by them from the moment he walked through the door. And I'm very grateful for that. He had a very good um, kind of role models from them for sure.
Well, good, and it's awesome that Leslie came into the picture there and showed him everything that he knew, right? So
Oh, he definitely stepped up as a dad. That's for sure. Yeah, he's incredible to him. Yeah.
awesome. Okay, and since he's his stepfather and everything, obviously you had a relationship with Cody's father at one point. How did you guys meet? How did everything end up, kind of?
We met through mutual friends, me and Scott. We dated for quite a few years, probably, I can't even remember how many years. And then it didn't work out. Scott, our relationship wasn't very good at the end. And I didn't want Cody to grow up in an environment where he heard fighting and we just didn't get along and it just wasn't good for Cody. And so I broke it off and about I'm going to say a year later maybe or months, like quite a bit later, I met Leslie through mutual friends as well. And we just hit it off and dated for a year and then moved in together. Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. Good.
Yep.
And okay, Cody
Oh no,
growing
no
up,
worries.
his hobbies and everything, like he obviously he liked working on the mechanic side of things, and he liked to go hunting and fishing, I believe.
Definitely. Yes, he loved to fish with Poppy Alley and even going by himself or with friends. He loved fishing and anything outdoors. Anything outdoors. He loved it. He was always outside as a child. growing up, Scott was in his life inconsistently. Like there would be times that he would be in his life and then times that he may not show up, for a visit. And I would be explaining to Cody that, you don't want him to be sad and think it's his fault. So you would just say, oh, well, it's not your fault. He probably just, was busy and didn't have time. So there were lots of times that he didn't show up, or a lot of Christmases that he was supposed to come and didn't show up, important times. And I think over the years, Cody, he felt very abandoned by his father. In fact, he told me that, he just couldn't rely on him to show up when he wanted to. He wasn't consistent. He wasn't reliable. So their relationship didn't get any better as time went on. They actually ended up over the years, especially when he got older, fighting quite a bit, like arguing. And he was just fed up with his father. Scott could be very belittling to him too, in front of people, like put him down. And there always was an audience when he did that. Cody always used to tell me that he was very hurt by that and embarrassed by that. So over the years, the relationship didn't get any better. That's for sure. And I think as time went on, I think we have to address the drug, kind of the drug aspect or the addiction. We noticed Cody, as he got a little older, going into his probably late teens, early 20s, that we suspected that there was drug use. It got worse as the years went on. By his middle 20s, it was definitely worse. And he would, have times where he was not doing okay, like he would lose a job and he couldn't keep a job. And then he would kind of clean up and get it together and then have a job and think. I think it all depended on what was going on in his life at the time as well. If there was any trauma or any kind of drama or anything that leads you, obviously you're drawn into taking more drugs to kind of numb whatever's going on, right? So we did notice that he struggled quite a bit. In fact, last January, we helped set Cody up in rehab. He was there for a little over a month, and they wanted him to stay for 3 months, but he did a little over a month, which, I mean, was incredible, because that's a very difficult thing for, an addict to kind of go. And he was brave. He was very brave to do it. It was very difficult. And he was incredible when he came out of there. Like it was unbelievable. He was just a different person. He was Cody, and I continued to take him to AA meetings. He really wanted to do it on his own. But I think when you continue to be around people that are in, like, using drugs and
Oh yeah.
in that world, it's difficult. You're to fight the addiction. So he ended up relapsing. I can still remember him coming to the house, and he was crying, and he didn't even want to face me. And I just gave him a hug. We just hugged, and I said, it doesn't matter that you relapse. Let's just move on, and we'll continue to help you from now on. So it's just, addiction is just a difficult thing, for disease for everybody. Like, it affects all your loved ones. There's so much shame and guilt for the addict. He wanted to be the father he should be, and he wanted to be, keep that job. But addiction, it's hard to fight it. And so it's like a vicious cycle. So when he came out of rehab, and he did good for he relapsed, but then he did really well for a couple of months, and into the summer, he had a job. He was doing really good. But we noticed in September of last year, not too bad. Like he was still doing pretty good. Him and Darlene had got back together, and their relationship was very good at times and then very bad at times. They truly loved each other, but it was very toxic at times. And I think as the months went on, it just got worse and worse. And of course, we could see him kind of like, he would tell us that he wasn't using, and he would tell us that he was okay. We were worried about him. He was losing weight, and he was definitely not eating like normally. Cody would walk through the door and ask me what's to eat, go to the fridge like mom, because he loved to eat. He really wasn't eating as much. He wasn't, so we knew, and we were asking, we were very concerned and worried, but he would say, I'm okay. I'm just, I'm just busy. I'm on the go. Like I'm doing what I love. I'm fixing up vehicles. I'm trading them. I'm selling them. I'm buying them. Like that's what he loved to do, which is what his Uncle Alan did. So he loved doing that. So definitely over that course, we could see that stuff was happening, and we were worried about him and offering to get him help and ask him what was wrong. But he said, oh no, I'm okay. I'm not, there's so much shame in it. He would never want to admit it anyway, So in February, he actually came to the house and said that he had just gotten into this big fight, and his father had hit him and choked him. Yeah, his biological father, Scott, had hit him and choked him and had to be pulled off him. It's very disturbing, very violent. And I said, Cody, you got to stay away from, Scott. That's just not good behavior. Like, that's disturbing and violent. And then a week later, he's telling Cody that he bought a property on taxes and that he could have it, and he'd have to pay him $5,000 for it, but he could have it and put. So Cody wanted this property, this was it was going to be his own. It was going to be a place where he could, have work on his own cars and have call it his own. So he had this older camper that he planned on renovating anyway, and he took it down there and set it up, and was gonna put a piece on it and a wood stove, and he had all the lumber and the wood stove and everything to do it, and I think was just struggling with the addiction and struggling with life, really. Darlene and him broke up the 15th, I think it was, around that time in February. And I should also say that when Cody came out of rehab, and he had relapsed, and then he cleaned up, and he was living home for a while, and he opened up to us and told us that he had turned to drugs because of the trauma of what his father did to him when he was a child, so he could numb that pain. And I think what happens in rehab is they open up about all that. They do a lot of therapy and group therapy, which is what he needed. And I think that made him comfortable enough to open up to us in last April, I think it was, is when he opened up to us. So it explained a lot of their relationship. It explained the anger he had, and why he felt the way he felt about Scott. I think he just wanted Scott's acceptance and love, and probably just couldn't understand how he could do this to him, so there was so many feelings and emotions. And so he sets this trailer up on this land, and is trying to, just proud that he has this place, that's his. And me being a mom, I'm like, okay, well, is it, should you stay in it until it's fixed? Maybe you should stay up here, maybe you shouldn't stay in it. But he wanted that. He wanted to be, in his own place, have something that was his. A little bit too about the day, like the situation with Cody going missing. So, or the day he went missing. So he was last seen February 29th. That morning, Scott had drove Cody and Cody's friend Cody Timmons back to Port Hawkesbury. Cody Timmons lived in Port Hawkesbury. They dropped Cody Timmons off. He took Cody to a couple of places, and he went to the Dodge dealership to get a key made, apparently. They came back to Scott's on Campbell Road. He then took Cody down to the gas bar, which is at the Seal Cove.
Right.
Cody is seen on camera. That's actually the last visual sighting of Cody at 10:26 that morning. He then takes Cody back up to his place, he says, on Campbell Road. So at 11, he says he left with his friend. His friend picked him up, Scott, to go to Tim Hortons. And that's when his next door neighbor, Tia, says she's seen Cody outside of Scott's little cabin or whatever it was at 11:15. She's seen him smoking a cigarette and on his phone. So that is the last known sighting of Cody that day on February 29th. So originally, I didn't really worry the first couple of days, because me and Cody were very close, and he contacted me almost every day. But there was sometimes a couple of days would go by, that he wouldn't reach out, and then he'd land at the house or give me a call or whatever. So by Sunday, I'm starting to get really concerned because, like, I don't know, it's 3 days then, it's, and what was concerning me was I had reached out to, say, Darlene and a couple of other people, and they hadn't heard from him, so if they had heard from him, it wouldn't have been as just like kind of worrisome, but where they hadn't heard from him. So then we started reaching out. Darlene did on her side. She reached out to a bunch of people that she knew that were their mutual friends. And I reached out to people that I knew that he was friends with to see if he had contacted them or if, but come Monday, that was March 4th, we filed the missing person report in the afternoon because we still hadn't heard from him. And I just knew that wasn't like Cody. He would have messaged me, definitely me. He would have reached out, So Tuesday morning, we started searching immediately. We went down to the property where his camper is. All my family and Leslie's family, my niece and my sister-in-law Kathleen, they literally came down, and my daughter came home from university and Monday evening, and we started searching. My niece didn't. She left work for a couple of weeks to search every day. Like, incredible family that we have, right? So we searched every day, every day, every day, every day. So we even at one point went up to Scott's property because originally it was understood that he was last seen at the camper property, which was incorrect. So we then went up to Scott's property, and Scott wasn't there. And when he got there, I asked a few questions because, you are one of the last people to see him, and you spoke to him that morning. You would know his demeanor, his like, was he going anywhere? Was he planning, did he have plans for the rest of the day? Did he talk about meeting up with somebody? Was he angry at somebody? Like, those are all really good questions to ask. And he just blew up at me and then blocked me on Facebook. So, because he didn't want to be asked those questions. So no, he didn't cooperate with me at all. He didn't work with me. He never participated in any searches we did, and we were out every single day. So it was just very frustrating that I didn't have that support or that help, and especially not even that it was his biological father, but he was one of the last people to see him. he was with him that morning. So he may have information or, something to add that might be really important. And he doesn't even want to talk to me about it. Like, it's just bizarre, really bizarre. He originally allowed the police to and the dogs in search and rescue a couple of times to search on the property. They had the helicopter. I think it was like March 9th or 10th that search and rescue came out. And I think they got the helicopter in 2 days after that because there was an emergency elsewhere. So they had searched both properties as well. And then we had a couple of volunteer community members want to come out and search, and he allowed them for one day and then did not allow them after that. Um, I reached out to Scott in the spring because the snow would be gone, and I felt like, things can be buried in the snow. So I felt it would be a really good idea now that the snow is gone. Richmond County had quite a bit more snow than we had up here. And I thought it would be a great idea for search and rescue to go back out, and RCMP and us to go back out searching on his property. Or, he didn't respond. And then I reached out to his sister. She answered me originally and said she would get back to me, and then she wouldn't respond. So it's just frustrating. It's the lack of cooperation from him with me, for sure. And bizarre, just bizarre. So now I have a situation where my son is missing, and his biological father, who is one of the last people to see him, will not cooperate with me. Basically, like, we should be working together. He didn't participate in any searches that we did. So it's frustrating. Like, you're in panic mode. You're out every day searching for your son. You don't know, you're searching obviously the last known properties that he was at, and every place in between, and everywhere you can think of, and you're getting all these crazy rumors as well. I mean, and the police have really really tried really hard and have been doing a good job. Immediately when Cody went missing, they did up a team of 5 officers, some detectives, I think, to handle his case and to handle all the tips and leads coming in, which was a lot at first, like a lot of tips, a lot of leads. They're very good to update us, me and my husband, and let us know that, obviously we understand they can't tell us details, but they can update us. There were so many rumors and and information coming in, and they were just advising that they checked this out and they did this, and and they had a really hard job because they were getting like so much information, and we worked with them. So if somebody reached out to me and gave me information or any kind of lead or tip, then I would contact them, and they would thank me, and they would look into that. So we really work good together, and they still actually update me weekly, and they're actively still investigating as well.
And then try to put that all together. And then you have people that aren't being cooperative. You mentioned that he does have a four-wheeler up there.
Yep, he's got an ATV. He knows the area. He knows all the trails. This is what bothered my husband, Leslie, so much. You know all the area very well, and you are not, well, he didn't participate in any searches with us. So when this all occurred, there was no reason to blow up or act the way he acted.
What else did we have to cover here with Darlene? Yeah, even though like they had a little bit of a toxic relationship and everything, like the way that she talked about Cody, like I know there was genuine love there.
That is true. I can honestly say to you that he loved her. I'm 100% sure of that. And she loved him. But in that course of loving each other, they did things to hurt each other too, right? So, he was doing what he could because he loved her so much and he was trying so hard to make her happy. Do you know what I mean? And Darlene was very present too. She searched every day she could be there as well, and she would take her dogs as well, which was we had asked her to sometimes. Um, so like a couple of weeks ago, we got a tip or a lead on an area, and I asked, she has two dogs, and I asked if she was willing to come and take the dogs because that's a huge help, and literally no problem. She was anytime, and so she came out right away. So yes, she has been out searching every day. Um, they they were hard on each other, definitely. They loved hard and they fought hard. Like they definitely I shouldn't say fought, but argued hard.
Even with like a couple of things that she mentioned, she was like kind of mad at him for a little bit, and then they make up and whatever. But I mean, the feelings were there.
Yes, yes, yeah, for sure. And as I said, it's not easy with addiction. It affects everybody. So um I always told her I understood, you know, that her end of that, because addiction affects everybody. It's not, it's not just the person that's addicted. It's affecting everybody. It's affecting all the family. So
Those around you, everything. Like I used to drink, and well, long story short, I don't drink anymore. But addiction's always there. You know what I mean? But
right, and I think, um I think when you're an addict, you're craving no matter what. So if any kind of uh if they fought, or if they, didn't get along, I think that it just made him want to turn to drugs even more to numb that pain. That's your instinct, right? It's kind of like if you were an alcoholic and that would be your instinct to go pour a drink. If you're frustrated or having a bad day. I think it's important to address the addiction because I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it, or um, or they're embarrassed to talk about it. It's real and it affects a lot of families, and it's very, very hard on everyone. But yes, at the time Cody went missing, he was using, we found out later, Dexies, they call them. We learned that that's what he was taking. And you're right. I think originally him taking it was to focus, and it probably did help him stay on task. But when you abuse it is when, it kind of gets out of control, right? So, and it does suppress your appetite. So it explained why he wasn't eating and why he was up all hours of the night, and he couldn't sleep, so it did explain a lot after. Um, but then it's kind of working against what it's supposed to do, like you said, and he was struggling for sure. Another thing that kind of we thought was worrisome and strange is that he used his phone with Wi-Fi. So when he was at Scott's that morning, he would have had Wi-Fi. The last message was sent to Darlene at 7:13 that morning, and he never opened hers or looked at hers. So that is a little worrisome too. Like, why didn't he go on his phone if he was there? If he had the Wi-Fi?
yeah,
It's just odd that he wouldn't have like read her message and messaged her back, because he originally reached out to her that morning, right? So um where he had the Wi-Fi, why didn't he message? We don't know. Was he picked up from there? um I know that people were asked along the road if they seen him walking. Nobody saw him that day. Yeah, so it's, people just don't vanish. Like, it's a mystery. Like, where did he go? Or where, like, what happened? So
and
if nobody's seen him
like
since
for nobody
then,
to see him walking,
what happened? Right.
Scott was supposed to go back to Tim Hortons at like 11 o'clock that morning as well. I think he got picked up, and then obviously Cody would have been staying on the step or over by his little cabin and then using the Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yes.
But
Well, it's frustrating for sure because, I mean, the goal is to bring your son home, so why not work together? All of us are out searching. I'm just asking important questions to you, like what was his demeanor that day? Was he going to meet up with somebody? Those are very valid questions, and he doesn't even want to answer this stuff. So it's just frustrating that I don't have the cooperation on his part. Yeah, it's very bizarre, yes. But I want to thank you for reaching out to them and giving him and Tia, Scott and Tia, the opportunity to come on the podcast and discuss the details. And I thank you for giving them the opportunity, because that would have been important too. Maybe
well,
they would have something to add or something to, so I thank you for reaching out to them. And I also want to let people know that if they have any information at all, um, to contact the RCMP. I mean, anything, even if you think it's a small piece of information. It may be something where you seen him somewhere and you didn't think it was important. It could be a couple of days before. It could be he went missing. So it's just important to reach out to the RCMP, Crime Stoppers, or even myself. And
I'll actually post a link of that into this episode description so more people can see it. You never know who might have something to say,
oh,
right?
great,
And
thank you.
that's all I wanted to do with this episode. Like I know it's my show, like I said, but it's just your guys' episode, and taking the time to do
Yeah,
this professionally and what have you. Well, I'm no professional, but it's something that I have a passion for. So,
thank you very much, and thank you for being so respectful to us and our wishes. So, thank you for taking the time.
and again, like I'm really sorry all this happened, and nobody should have to go through this. But if there's anything I can do to help, I hope it does help. And like I said, if you need me for anything, let me know. I'm just a message away. So,
Thank you so much, and thanks again for being so respectful.
no problem. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful night.
Great, thanks so much.
Twisted Tales.